This meeting is being transcribed and summarized.
7 p.m. on Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. We're here at Levy Court, Kent County Administrative Complex at 55 Bay Road, Dover, Delaware. Levy Court Chambers, now called to order. With that, I'll turn it over to County Administrator Kevin Sipple.
Thank you, Madam President. This meeting will be held in person at 555 Bay Road, Dover, Delaware, in the Levy Court Chambers. We're also making it available via the internet through WebEx. Participants can join us by phone or by computer during the meeting. There will be an opportunity for public comment for those attending in person or online. When the President opens a public comment period, those attending in person may step forward to one of the two podiums and be recognized. If you're joining us by phone and wish to comment, please press star 3, which will raise your electronic hand. Our operator will identify you and bring you into the meeting. Pressing star 6 will mute and unmute your line. If you're online, you will see a hand and a microphone icon at the bottom of your screen. Please use those at the appropriate times. We ask guests to begin public comments by stating your name and address for the record. The county attorney will administer an oath of affirmation to anyone giving testimony during a public hearing. We ask that the public comments relate to this subject announced by the President. In addition to public hearings, there are 2 public comment periods, one at the beginning of the meeting for agenda items and one near the end of the meeting for general comments. This meeting is being recorded and will follow the rules and procedures adopted by Levy Court, as well as the Mason Rules of Order. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you. I would ask the invocation to be by Commissioner Pepper, Pledge of Allegiance, Commissioner Hall, moment of silence for our troops and first responders. Commissioner Sweeney, please stand.
Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to come together this evening to discuss many issues concerning Kent County, Delaware. Please help us make decisions that are not only pleasing to our constituents, but pleasing to you as well. Amen.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for our military, law enforcement, firefighters, paramedics, and other first responders who have given their lives in the line of duty. Please remember these individual first responders who died in line of duty these last couple of weeks, as well as keeping their families in your thoughts and prayers as they deal with the loss of their loved ones. Police Officer David Cahuso from the Miami Beach Police Department, Florida. Deputy Sheriff Devin Jaramillo from the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office in Florida. Police Officer Roger Smith from the Wake Med Campus Police and Public Safety in North Carolina. Corporal Blake Reynolds from the Delaware County Sheriff's Office in Indiana. Police Officer Mark Brook from the Vivian Police Department, Louisiana. And Corrections Officer Jeremy Lewis Hall from the Virginia Department of Corrections. You may have noticed the last couple of weeks I have not had any firefighters listed. I have passed Kent County Volunteer Fire Chief President Kevin Hovis looking for another source for me to get that information in order to provide that information. Thank you.
Ms. Tanaka, roll call.
Mr. Angel.
Present.
Mr. Hall.
Present.
Mr. Hertz.
Here.
Mr. Pepper.
Here.
Mr. Scott.
Here.
Mr. Sweeney.
Here.
Mrs. Maston.
Here.
Madam President, roll call reveals 7 present.
Let the record show we have 7 commissioners present. We have a quorum. Motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Pepper, second by Vice President Scott. Any questions? Roll call.
Mr. Angel.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Hertz.
Yes.
Mr. Pepper.
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney.
Before I place my vote, I have a statement that I'd like to make. Tonight's agenda item has an item put there at the request of Commissioner Maston. Commissioner Maston has every right to appoint or unappoint any member of Levy Court to committees or as liaisons to community organizations. I'm not disputing that. However, bringing this forward for discussion is just creating a spectacle and responding for a single person who organized a group who complained about me exercising my rights under the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. In 17 years on Levy Court and under President Brooks Banner or Terry Pepper, appointed commissioners, it was always handled after the election. Did I agree with those appointments? Mostly yes, with very few reasons to disagree. Since Commissioner Masson was elected the president, I'm aware of 2 times that an appointment was changed, and both had to do with commissioners who could no longer fulfill their duties as liaisons to community organizations. In both those instances, Commissioner Masson assigned me to take their place, one on the Central Delaware Chamber of Commerce and the other on Dover-Kent Metropolitan Planning Organization. In fact, I've recently been voted by fellow members of the Dover-Kent MPO Advisory Board as vice chair under Chair Robin Christensen. Recently, I requested an appointment as the liaison to the Kent Farm Bureau, which did not work out, but there was never a public discussion among commissioners as is taking place tonight. Taking action now is buckling under pressure from a single person who organized a group to attack me on September 23rd. Since that meeting, I've received dozens of messages and calls from family, constituents, and friends showing support for my position of defending my person and my rights under the First Amendment. According to Linke versus Freed in 2024, the U.S. Supreme Court clarified when a public official's social media conduct is state action. A 2-part test must be met. 1, the official possessed actual authority to speak on the state's behalf on the relevant matter. There was no relevant matter. And 2, the official purported to exercise that authority in their post. As a single commissioner, I've never purported to be speaking on the county's or other commissioners' behalf, and I've never conflated my personal positions with my elected position or from the county or from any other commissioners. Responding to public pressure and discussing my removal from chair of county committees and liaison to community organization is strictly disciplinary. Because it is a disciplinary from leadership, it should have been handled in executive session. But since the agenda was made public on November 10th, it is now a public issue. It is meant to embarrass me in public forum and to give a few Levy Court commissioners license to bash me in public to appease their base. The president of Levy Court's authority includes signing documents, running meetings, and these appointments. The position is not supervisory over other commissioners. On Sunday, November 9th, I was asked by Commissioner Masson to meet with herself and Vice President Robert Scott at 6 p.m. the next night. I asked what the meeting was about, and through multiple texts, Commissioner Masson would not share what the topic was, eventually stating it had to do with my role in Levy Court. She would not discuss any details and use typical supervisory phrases like, there are things better done one-on-one than through a text. When I asked if I was being sanctioned, her response was, I have no desire to sanction you or anyone else. I suggested I would not prefer to meet with Commissioner Scott, who is a member of the other party, as any discipline taken by her would surely be shared by members of his party who are not my allies. Ensuing text, Commissioner Masson suggested that she and Robert Scott had many long discussions, which reeks of backroom decisions conspiring to discipline me and lack of transparency. Monday night was not an option for me. I offered Tuesday evening and Friday evening as possible alternatives and never heard back from her. Instead of handling this herself, but bringing forward to the entire Levy Court is unprofessional and shows lack of leadership. Appointments have never required a discussion with all Levy Court commissioners, especially in public. It shows a lack of respect for me in the 17 years I've been on Levy Court. Even state legislators I've discussed this with said they would never remove members from committees based on public input, only for committing actual crimes. This agenda item should have been removed from the agenda. I should get an apology from leadership for the attempt to embarrass me publicly. Commissioner Masson should provide the list of new appointments to committees and other community organizations without all the fanfare and attempt at public humiliation. But if I am disciplined with these removals, it will not diminish my attempts to address Levy Court issues that are truly pertinent, such as out-of control that is not keeping pace with school construction, road improvements, or the ability for emergency services to respond in a timely manner. Removing me from committee chair positions will not hinder my support for improvements to county parks, expanding the recreational center, renovations at Brecknock Parks, Goggin Mansion, or support of groups like DASEF. Removing me as liaison will not stop me from supporting great organizations like the Dover-Kent MPO and their efforts to advance road improvement and biking or walking paths. With that, I'm voting no on adopting the agenda.
Any other comment?
Mrs. Maston?
Roll call.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Madam President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 nay.
The record shows 6 yeas, 1 no. At this point, we open this up to public comment for any agenda item that's not currently covered by a public hearing.
Good evening, Madam President and members of the commission and staff. For the record, my name is John Pardee. I'm an attorney with the law firm Brockstedt, Mendelis, and Federico here in Dover. And just a brief comment on a item of new business that is not scheduled for public hearing tonight, but is scheduled for a public hearing on December 16, which is less than 30 days from tonight. It's ordinance LC 2528 regarding the keeping of animals. I think I know what inspired this, which was a very limited problem, and I would submit to you that this proposed ordinance, which I've just seen for the first time tonight, is going to have a lot of unintended consequences, I think. It's venturing into dangerous waters. I would respectfully submit there are hundreds, if not thousands, of agricultural properties that will be impacted by this ordinance. All of your constituents, if you drive around the western and southern parts of Kent County, you'll see lots of properties that would violate this ordinance as it's written. I would just ask that you give careful consideration to the constitutional limits of your authority under Article 2 of the Delaware Constitution, Section 25, which severely limits your ability to regulate agricultural uses. And I would also respectfully request that you consult with the Department of Agriculture and the Delaware Farm Bureau, because I suspect they would have a lot of problems with that ordinance. And I'll look forward to providing more substantive comment in December. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pardee. Anyone else would like to address anything that's not covered under public hearing? Okay. Anyone online?
If there's anyone joining us online that would like to make public comments for items on the agenda but's not scheduled for public hearing, please indicate by raising your electronic hand or pressing *3 if you're joining us by phone. I see no hands raised online at this time, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Motion to accept consent agenda 2515.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sweeney, second by Vice President Scott. Any questions, concerns? Oh, I'm sorry, second by Commissioner Angel. I apologize. Any questions? Roll call?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Madam President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Next is the approval of Levy Court business meeting minutes from Tuesday, October 28th, and action items for November 4th, 2025 workshop. Need motion?
Madam President, that was all part of consent agenda. I'm sorry, I tried to keep it all under one page.
Ms. Horsey here for Employee of the Month.
Good evening, Commissioners. I have the pleasure of welcoming Donna Barnes up front to speak about our December Employee of the Month honoree, Ms. Marissa Burgos. Unfortunately, Ms. Burgos is unable to attend tonight. She's under the weather and she does have small children at home, but we will be reading her memo and certificate in for the record. Donna?
Okay. Okay. Good evening. I'm Donna Barnes, IT Director for Kent County. Kent County Department Heads have selected Marissa Burgos from the Department of Administration as the December 2025 Employee of the Month. Marissa currently serves as a Computer Programmer 1 in the Information Technology Office, having joined Kent County in October of 2022. She holds a bachelor's degree in computer science from Adamson University. Her wealth of experience in software application, design, maintenance, programming, testing, support analysis, and software engineering. Her technical expertise and dedication have made her an invaluable member of the IT team. In her current role, Marissa is responsible for writing, creating, and developing complex computer code, providing support for advanced computer applications, and user training, monitoring, and analyzing software application issues, and identifying and implementing effective programming system solutions. From the outset of her tenure, Marissa demonstrated exceptional initiative by taking on the complex task of learning the full Tyler implementation for finance, tax, and sewer billing. This endeavor required not only a deep understanding of back-end systems, but also seamless collaboration with multiple departments. More recently, during a critical transition period within the office, Marissa once again rose to the occasion. She proactively assumed additional responsibilities and quickly adapted to new platforms such as Zendesk and OpenCities. Her ability to learn rapidly, manage complexity, and contribute meaningfully across teams continues to be a tremendous asset to Kent County. In addition to her technical skills, Marissa brings a calm and composed demeanor to every situation. Her professionalism, adaptability, and commitment to excellence exemplify the values of the Information Technology Office. Marissa's reliability, problem-solving mindset, and collaborative spirit make her an indispensable part of our team. Congratulations to Melissa.
And I'll read the certificate into the record. Kent County Levy Court, December 2025 Employee of the Month, Marissa Burgos. On this, the 18th day of November 2025, the Levy Court of Kent County, State of Delaware, does hereby recognize Marissa A. Burgos, Computer Programmer 1, Department of Administration, for her exceptional initiative, dedication, and conscientiousness in the delivery of services to the citizenry of the county. Thank you. And next up, we did hire 2 new employees in the month of October. One was unable to attend, but we do have Miss Julie Brown here from the Department of Public Works, and I'm going to ask Sam Bautista, the Director of Public Works, to come up and introduce Miss Julie.
Good evening, Madam President and Commissioners. I have the pleasure of introducing Julie Bowman. Julie joined Kent County as the Utility Services Specialist on October 6th. She most recently served as a customer service advocate for Motive Care, which helped coordinate transportation needs to patients. Before that, she worked as a rental manager with Logix Car Rental. Julie resides in Commissioner Angel's and Pepper's district. And thank you, Julie, for joining our Public Works team, and we welcome you to Kent County.
Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here and this opportunity to work in a different type of environment. I'm used to corporate, so this is like a fresh breath of fresh air. So thank you.
Any commissioners want to make a comment? Commissioner Pepper?
Well, Julie, welcome aboard. Wish you a long, happy career here.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Angel?
Yes, Julie,
Sorry.
thank you for joining the Levy Court family. I was actually starting to wonder whether I was going to ever get anybody to come onto the 3rd Levy Court District again. Mr. Pepper's got all the districts, but I'd like to have somebody come in every once in a while in the 3rd District, like the other commissioners, but thank you, and congratulations and longevity, I hope.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. At this point in the agenda, we're going to start our public hearings. First one is petition, land, map, and zoning map. Mr. Vice President Scott.
Thank you, Madam President. Ms. Kiefer.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. First, just a word about how tonight's hearing will be conducted. This public hearing is being conducted for the purpose of giving the citizens of the county the opportunity to present testimony on the ordinance before the Levy Court. Everyone will have a chance to speak. All statements are to be made from the podium at the front of the room. For the record, please give your name and address. Copies of any written statements or exhibits used during the hearing should be presented for identification and inclusion in the record. For each application, the president will introduce the application. Then the levy court will receive testimony from all of those in favor. Testimony will then be received from those who may be opposed. After everyone has had an opportunity to speak, the hearing on the application will be closed, and the levy court will take what action it deems appropriate. Levy court's decision will be based upon public hearing testimony given at this meeting and a recommendation submitted to the levy court by the Regional Planning Commission. I would ask that that recommendation be included by reference in the permanent record of this meeting established by the Clerk of the Peace. The public notice of this hearing was published in the October 29th, 2025 edition of the Delaware State News. The ordinance before the levy court tonight, LC 2525, is an ordinance to amend both the zoning map and the comprehensive plan future land use map. The site itself is just about 15.5 acres on the east side of South DuPont Highway, on the west side of Gun and Rod Club Road, north of Farmington. The site currently is zoned AR, agricultural residential, and the proposal is to rezone to BG, highway commercial. The Regional Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend denial of the ordinance, citing that the area in question is primarily agricultural with some single family. The character of the neighborhood has not changed over time to such an extent that the zoning map should change. With the exception of 2 small commercial properties, the existing commercial and industrial zoned land remain undeveloped and in agriculture. And finally, the proposal does not conform to the 2018 comprehensive plan. So again, this application comes with a recommendation for denial by the Regional Planning Commission. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Ms. Kiefer? Thank you, Ms. Kiefer. At this point, we open it to the public. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in favor of this project? Please come forward and state your name.
Good evening, Madam President and commissioners and staff. For the record, again, my name is John Pardee. I'm an attorney with the law firm Brockstedt Mandalis Federico. Let the record reflect that I gave the Clerk of the Peace hard copies of our PowerPoint presentation tonight, as well as a copy of a declaration of deed restrictions, which you'll hear me talk about. The property owners agreed to voluntarily record. So I'll try to make this brief and move right into the PowerPoint. Our position for you tonight is that the application meets the legal criteria for approval of a zoning change under section 205-408B of your code, for the reasons that the character of the neighborhood has changed to such an extent that the zoning map should be changed. The proposed zoning classification conforms to the comprehensive plan. Infrastructure facilities adequate to serve the area are either proposed or in existence, and there is compatibility between the use of the property as reclassified and surrounding uses. So first I want to show you some photographs that were taken within the last 2 weeks. And I'll just ask you to take a look at these photos and think about the character of the area that you see in these photographs. And then I'm going to show you some photographs of the area around the subject property. So, did I do that? These are all photographs of properties in Lower Kent County. And the question is, what do they look like? Do they look like properties that are inside or outside the growth zone? And I will represent to you that every single one of these properties is inside the growth zone, south of Harrington and north of Greenwood. The subject property is located just a little bit south of all the photographs that you just saw. It's about 15.5 acres on the east side of South DuPont Highway, west of Gun and Rod Club Road, about halfway between the towns of Harrington and Farmington. You heard me say the first criteria under your code, we believe we satisfy in that the character of the neighborhood has changed to such an extent that the zoning map should be changed. This map is taken from the staff packet, and what it shows is there are 5 BG zone properties. Those are shown in red. 2 IL, that's light industrial zone properties. Those are shown in light blue. And 2 IG zone properties. Those are shown in purple, almost directly across the street from this property. And they're all within the immediate vicinity. This is one of the IL properties located at 19130 South DuPont Highway. This is one of the BG zone properties located on the southeast corner of Williamsville Road and Route 13's propane distribution. This is on the northeast corner of that same intersection, 19627 South Road. This is BG property. And this is at 19456 South DuPont Highway. I'm going to back up real quick here and show you. Well, actually, this map shows it. The last three photos you saw are the 3 red BG properties that are closest to the subject property. And all 3 of those properties were rezoned by Kent County from AR to BG. This is an aerial photograph of the area in 2005. And again, you have copies of these photographs in your hard copy of the PowerPoint. So I'd encourage you to compare these 2 photographs, 2005 and 2025. And you'll see that there's been quite a bit of change in the area, particularly the properties that I've identified where the zoning is other than agricultural or residential. And this is a really telling slide because it shows the location and zoning of each of those properties. You see the 2 IL properties in light blue. You see the 5 BG properties with red pin dots, and then the 2 IG properties with purple pin dots. And the subject property is shown with the green, light green pin dot, very close to the BG properties and the IG property. The second criteria is that the proposed zoning classification conforms to the comprehensive plan. We submit that it does. This is a map from your comprehensive plan, and what it shows is the area of the growth zone around Harrington. And if you look just south of that purple southern line outside of Harrington, you'll see just below the intersection of Williamsville Road and Route 13, and the brightly colored, it looks almost reddish purple. Those are the 2 the 2 IG properties, and the subject properties almost directly across the street from those, just south of the 2 BG properties that straddle Williamsville Road on the north and south side of the east side of the intersection. So this property is just barely outside the growth zone, but remember the photographs that I showed you at the beginning, all of those photographs are well north of this property inside the growth zone. So you have to scratch your head a little bit and say, maybe the growth zone map needs to be revised because you've got properties that are zoned for commercial use outside the growth zone, and you've got a lot of land north of that that's in the growth zone but not being used for any business or residential purpose. In your comprehensive plan under future land use, it talks about what that map I just showed you indicates. Map 7B reflects the county's future land use map, and it shows this particular area shaded in green being low density residential, but importantly, under the permitted land uses in areas that the comp plan designates as low density residential, it says limited commercial uses are permitted. And I would submit to you that you should be encouraging that wherever infrastructure and development supports it, and that's the case here. We'll talk about South DuPont Highway in this area has a little over 25,000 vehicle trips per day. It's the principal arterial roadway through this part of the county. So if you're going to have development happening, you want to have it happening around infrastructure, and roads, sewer, and water are the key infrastructure elements. This property has all of those. According to your comp plan, this is a direct quote, neighborhood commercial uses could be considered appropriate to support the existing small towns and residential communities in areas outside the growth zone, like this one. Particularly so given that highway commercial areas are generally located in and around areas along major roadways. The third criteria under your code is infrastructure facilities adequate to serve the proposed use are either in existence or programmed for construction. Here, they're already in existence. You have, with regard to transportation facilities, this property is located on Route 13, again, a principal arterial road with over 25,000 vehicle trips per day. There's not a busier road in Kent County other than SR1, okay? So this is where you should be looking to place development. Water and sewer systems are already available through Artesian. Stormwater drainage, a mini storage facility, which is what my client is proposing, would have no adverse environmental impacts. And this project, importantly, could easily comply with all DNREC and KCD requirements. Likewise, with regard to fire suppression, this project would comply with all state fire marshal requirements. The last criteria is compatibility between the use of the property as reclassified and surrounding land uses so as to promote health, safety, and welfare of present and future residents. I would ask you to take a look at the declaration of restrictions that I provided to you, and you will see that the declaration has been signed by the owner of the property, Deborah Webb, who's the trustee of the trust that owns the property. And what this deed restriction says is that if this application were to be approved, then the permitted use of the property shall be limited to a mini storage facility use as permitted under the provisions of the Kent County Code. Paragraph 2 of the declaration provides that if the application is denied, then the declaration becomes null and void. And the third paragraph provides that if it is approved, this covenant can be enforced at law or in equity against any person or persons violating or attempting to violate the covenant in order to restrain any violation. So the intention there is that if you were inclined to approve it, and again, this is a deed restriction that the county has no authority to enforce. I think your counsel will tell you that. And you can't agree to approve it contingent on this declaration because that would be contract zoning. What I'm telling you is my client and the property owner have voluntarily agreed to deed restrict the property to assuage any concerns that neighbors might have that this could be something other than mini storage. Because if you rezone it to BG, then it could be anything that's permitted under BG. And my client doesn't want to do that. My client only wants to do a mini storage facility and to memorialize his commitment, his promise not to do anything other than that. That's what the deed restriction does. Again, it wouldn't be up to the county to enforce, but it would be enforceable by neighbors, by private property owners. So we submit that there would be compatibility between that use and the neighborhood. Mini storage facility would be compatible because it's a very low impact use, minimal traffic, no significant nuisance. The hours of operation would be restricted. All light would be directed away from neighboring properties, and there would be no other noise or significant nuisance. So in conclusion, it's our position that the application meets the legal criteria for approval of a zoning change under your code for all the reasons that I mentioned, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Any questions? Commissioner Sweeney?
Thank you, ma'am. So, Mr. Pardee, under the AR zoning that is currently, if this is not passed tonight, what could the owner do with that property?
So my understanding is that the most they could do would be to subdivide the property for up to four houses. It's not big enough, and I believe has been previously subdivided off other property. I'm not sure I entirely understand, but my client researched that question and was satisfied that the best they could do would be to put four houses on it, but otherwise, one house, two house, three house, four house max would be all that you could do. And I'm not sure that that's economically viable. I mean, you're talking about a 15.5 acre piece of property. It's almost 4 acres per lot. You'd have to get a pretty hefty price, and it's just not a very efficient. I would say not a very appropriate use. If you wanted to encourage residential uses, you'd probably have to allow a little bit more density than that in order for it to be viable.
What did it, obviously it's being used for agriculture now and that's it.
Correct, it's being farmed presently.
And this is Mrs. Webb's desire to do something with her land?
I don't believe that Matt Webb is here tonight, but he testified at the RPC hearing remotely because he lives in Newark. And he explained, and I'm just going to repeat what was said on the record. This is not my words. These are his. But his mother is Dorothy, is the owner. She's elderly and infirm, and they've been trying to sell the property for some time to help pay for her living expenses. I believe she's in a nursing home, and so he's trying to sell the property to sustain his mother's life. And just letting it be farmed is not gonna cover that. So he's trying to find something to do. I don't know what he'll do if this gets denied. Obviously, the RPC recommended denial, so we would need 5 votes, which is admittedly a heavy lift. But I just think this is one of those cases that you have to ask yourself, if not here, then where? At what point do you need to start thinking about properties like this that are caught on the edge of your municipalities? They might be just outside the growth zone. You've got that little nook between Harrington and Greenwood that is technically not in the growth zone, because at the time the growth zone was created in 1996, there were no sewer stations, within 2 miles of that area. So they were sort of left out. But I would submit to you, with all the traffic and the things that are going on there, if you drive around this area, you'll see there's a fair amount of business cropping up and down Route 13 between Harrington and Greenwood. And eventually, at some point in time, if not tonight, if not next year, if not 10 years from now, at some point, that's where you want to fill in with your growth. You don't want it to go out on the western side of the county or out on the eastern side of the county. You need to channel your growth, around infrastructure, and this property has the infrastructure. One last thing I'll say, and I apologize for rambling on, but the properties directly across the street that are zoned IG, that is one of, if not the most intensive zoning districts under your code. And while it may be true that that property currently is being farmed, the reason you didn't see a picture of anything with a factory on it there is because it doesn't exist. Right now it's being farmed. So, opponents will say, oh, well, this area is all farmland. It should stay farmland forever. And I get that. I mean, that's not an unreasonable position to take. But you have to think about that property zoned IG. It's actually 2 parcels, and it's really big. And someday somebody's going to come in front of you with an application for an IG zone project on that property, and you won't be able to turn it down because it's a permitted use. So I'm just suggesting to you, this is an area that's in transition, and if tonight's not the night for a project like this, you're going to have to address this question at some point when you get to redoing your comprehensive plan.
You showed us what was south of Harrington, including some of the areas that were already rezoned. Back one more, there.
Yeah.
You didn't go down farther than that. Farmington, right below, isn't that where Eastern Shore waste is?
Yes, in this map, you'll see where it says the word Farmington and the road's IN, that little gray square, that's actually the municipal limits of Farmington, but there is a lot of development north and south of Farmington.
And not in the growth zone?
No, that's not in the growth zone.
Thank you.
Commissioner Angel?
Thank you, Madam President. John, I was actually at 19627 South DuPont, that little farming stand there that was on right there. I've been
Right.
there twice in the last month, coming back from a trip. I saw that area very well. I said, what a great place for something to be developed there. And I was leading to that until you mentioned houses. We have a housing shortage right now in this state. Having something like this put in here now, I was going to vote yes for this. But I think I'm going to vote no for denial because we need houses for people that are moving here that can't find livable space.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
4 or 5
with you.
houses now would definitely help the economy as well as the people that need it. So I'm actually on the border right now. I'm still thinking, but I just want to be truthful with you. How you changed my mind in a split second when you mentioned houses, that he would put that up instead of doing this.
Yeah, so that's a great question, but I would submit to you respectfully, Commissioner, that you don't want to put housing developments right on Route 13, right? Because if their access is on Route 13, then you're going to run all the residential traffic through that entrance off of Route 13. Ideally, you would want your residential developments to be the next block off of 13, you know, just removed slightly down a side road with an entrance on Williamsville Road or something like that. I don't disagree with you. We need housing, especially affordable housing in Kent County, and we should be doing everything we can to encourage that. And changing the zoning here from AR to BG would not serve that. I agree. But I would also submit to you that putting housing directly on Route 13 doesn't make a lot of sense because you're making a traffic problem worse by doing that. I think you want your residential development to happen, you know, maybe 1,000 feet or 2,000 feet off of Route 13 so that there's some buffer because, you know, as you've seen happen over time, residential development happens first. Commercial development doesn't happen first. Commercial development typically happens in response to residential development. You don't build grocery stores until there's people around who are going to shop at the grocery store. Same with restaurants and everything else. So, you know, on Route 13, you should be encouraging, in cooperation with DelDOT and making sure it's safe and the traffic patterns all make sense, you should be encouraging some sort of limited commercial development on 13 and then your residential, as I say, the next block over. I don't think you want to put houses directly on Route 13.
Well, looking back on history, our roads, a lot of houses are on major runways, or that's what they are now. And I know future things are changing, but 4 or 5 houses is not to me a subdivision. It's still close to getting to the stores that are in the area or have to be in that area. Since that is an open area for a commercial, I'm still leaning towards the houses more than a commercial.
Understand. And I respect that position.
Commissioner Hall?
Thanks, Madam President. Going back to the map of Harrington and those areas that have been rezoned over time outside the growth zone, that's pretty much the definition of spot zoning. Is that a fair statement?
It may have been the first time it happened. So imagine, if you will, that none of these properties were BG, IG, or IL, and the first property that pops up says, I want to be IG right at the southwest intersection of Williamsville Road and 13. I think that's a very good point, Commissioner, that, you know, that would I think, be a good example of spot zoning because it's the first commercial zoning in an area that doesn't have any commercial zoning. That's not what is being proposed here tonight. What's being proposed here tonight is a BG zoning that would be the 6th BG zoning in the immediate area. And also you have 2 IGs and 2 ILs. So I don't think that it fits the classic definition of a spot zoning at this point. But I would agree with your premise that, you know, if you're looking at an area that's exclusively agricultural and residential and you plunk a commercial right in the middle of it, then yeah, I think that would be.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Hertz?
Yeah, looking at all the pictures and stuff, my biggest is a drainage, and not only on that property, but the houses around it. And building highways myself, Route 13 is an old highway, and it doesn't have the swales built into it like a Route 1. So in order to develop your property, you would have to build it up because you got a ton of lakes on there. And if you build your property up, where's your water going to go? It's not going to go into swales because swales really don't work on 13. So where's it going to go? It's going to go on neighboring properties. And that's my concern, that you're going to impact neighboring properties. And we've already seen pictures of the house next door where they're, underneath their house is always wet when it rains.
That's a very valid concern, Commissioner, and I appreciate you bringing that up. The reality is, under KCD regulations, you cannot discharge water off of your property beyond what the natural condition provides. So my client would have to, if this property were to be developed, he would have to install on-site stormwater management, you know, a pond of some sort that would have to manage all of the water, so there would be no water flowing off of this property beyond what the natural state of things would be. That is KCD Regulation 101. You can't increase the amount of stormwater flow off your property. You have to manage it on site. So it's a valid concern, but I respectfully submit to you that the project would have to comply with KCD regulations, which would prevent that from happening.
No, I agree with you, and I understand them regulations from also doing developments and building stormwater ponds myself. The point is, the water's already high. I mean, if you walk through it in boots and stuff, you're like 1.5 feet underwater, so if you build a pond, your water level's already there. So you would have to build the ground up, and you have to have an outlet by KCD rules. In that pond, you have to have an outfall structure, which outfalls to either a ditch. Where's it going to go? And that's my concern. You're going to have to build the property up. The water's already above the ground, so that's the concern. It's not like you got a plain piece of property, you go out there, dig a pond, and take all the water to the pond. This has already got water above the ground, and that's my concern.
A fair concern, but I would submit to you that it couldn't be farmed if it was underwater, and it's been farmed actively. So there's a way to manage that, but again, I don't want to argue with you. It's a valid concern. I appreciate it.
Any other commissioner comments for Mr. Pardee? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone here would like to speak in favor of the project, please step forward. Mr. Kennedy?
If there's anyone that's joining us online that would like to speak in favor of this project, please indicate by raising your electronic hand or pressing *3 if you're joining us by phone. I see no hands raised online, Madam President.
Thank you. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in opposition to this project? Please come forward.
I just have a petition that a couple of our neighbors
Ma'am, can you state your name and address for the record?
My name's Caitlin Lister, and I live at 1253 Gun and Rod Club Road.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give today is the truth?
Yes, I do. So, we have many concerns, regarding this mini storage unit being put next door to us. Me and my husband and our 2 little kids, 2 boys. Our oldest is 3 years old, and our youngest is 1.5. So firstly, I'd like to start with, safety and privacy. There's going to be a lot of strangers, if you will, in and out of that area that we don't know. Not saying that they're not on the road now, but our neighbors, we have a chance to get to know and develop a relationship with them, see familiar cars. And also, with that being said, the entrance will have to be on Gun and Rod Club Road, which will create a lot more traffic for us. So as Mr. Pardee would like to emphasize that this should be developed because it's on Route 13, there's going to be no entrance on Route 13. So is it really a business that's benefiting from the traffic on that major highway or not? Just my thought process on that. We do live in a farming community. This weekend, the farmers next door that actually currently till that land, they put on a great show for us. They came in with their 2 combines, and me and my boys, we sat in the bedroom with the blinds up and watched them as they worked. And on the other side, this property here, my oldest son stood outside, and we have a mound system where we live. He stood on top of the mound and watched that farmer as he worked in the ground because he just took off his soybean harvest recently. Also, this piece of land is in farmland preservation. So it's going to stay agriculture, and as you can see, the many chicken houses that are surrounding in this picture. Another argument I have is that they have suggested that there will be minimal noise and noise disturbances or light disturbances. You can't control how loud your customers come in if they have their music turned up loud and it's, in the earlier hours of the morning or the later hours of the night. You can't control how loud their vehicles are if they have loud muffler systems on. So I do think that there could very well be a lot of noise disturbances. Also with the lights, they say they will be pointed away from our properties. Well, if you point lights away from my property, consequently it's going to be pointing towards my neighbor and vice versa. I also would like to point out that there has been other offers put in on this property. So as the seller is putting an emphasis on that he needs to take care of his mother, I do very well understand that as I'm a registered nurse and I work with dialysis patients, so I primarily work with the older generation, that as they age, they do need a lot of care. But this is not the only option, has not been the only option. I do know that. And as you say, Mr. Pardee said, obviously that the land's not too wet because it can be farmed. If it was underwater, it wouldn't be able to be farmed. Well, that is true, but I'm not sure how much. I know my husband would probably know a little bit better because he is a farmer, how many times that farmer has to come in, how many year after year and replant a couple of acres that have been drowned out, especially on the years we get a lot of rain in the early seasons. And in talking with the farmer this weekend after he got done with the harvest, I was explaining to him what was planning on going on, and he did say, well, if they're planning on doing that, they're going to have to haul in a lot of dirt here to make that happen. So I would say that himself should know more than anybody but us too, as we see plenty of water there as it gets wet. So I just ask you if you could just keep our neighborhood the way that it is. You know, right now it's quiet. We do enjoy the, you know, being able to freely walk to our neighbors, you know, and, you know, doing agricultural things and just not having to worry as much as if we had many strangers that had very close access to our property on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition to this project? Please come forward.
I'm Yvonne Rollins. I live at 1101 Gun and Rod Club Road.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
I do.
Yvonne, what is your last name?
Rollins, Rollins.
Thank you.
I live right next to the proposed property, and I can honestly tell you that it is wet. If we have any significant amount of rain, or even when the snow melts off, I have lakefront property. I have horses, you know. He keeps saying Route 13, Route 13. It's not, the entrance is not going to be on Route 13. It's going to be on Gun and Rod Club Road. If you look at the entrance, my driveway, my lane, there's a curve in the road, and it's dangerous there, you know, to pull in and out. Now you're adding extra traffic because that's going to be the entrance, okay? I have horses, you know, I'm not looking for extra traffic on that road. I think that it would be better served if he wants to do a storage unit somewhere else, like maybe on Route 13 somewhere. I understand there's houses going on in behind the Food Lion there, you know, somewhere else. Because anybody that lives on that road that needs to store anything, they're going to build a shed. You know, it's not going to fit the needs of our community. I just think it's not going to serve us where we are in the way that we live. And I'm really wish he would do it somewhere else. And I'm a little bit resentful for the fact that somebody from Virginia is coming and telling us that live there, like, what we need and how we should, you know, move forward and you know, our way of life. And I just like things the way they are. And that's why I bought there in 2008. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Rollins.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else here to speak in opposition? Please come forward.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Isaac W. Henry Jr., and I live at 19857 South DuPont Highway.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give today is the truth?
Yes, sir, I do. I live in the, let me see if I can show it to you. My wife and I live in the house directly across the property, right adjacent to it. And when we first moved there, we loved the home. In fact, we're religious people, we believe in the Lord, and she prayed when they started building the house about, that's my house, that's my house. So Mr. Wayne died, and I tell everybody I got this big headache because as soon as she found out the house was her property, I was working at Kent General Hospital, I'm a constable there, and I told everybody, I gotta buy this house because my wife wants it. So I put a claim in, put $1,000 down to secure it. And it took 3 months to get it, but we've been there since September 26th, and 2019. I'm a little nervous, you have to bear with me. I'm the person that submitted the drawings of the house with the water under it and the drawings of the backyard full of water. As my neighbors have said, that property they're talking about, where that ditch is, where that little line is, all that stays full of water. And it washes out some of the property, and the water runs down on our property, causing my sump pump to overwork itself. I have 2 of them now. I had to have it all done. It cost me $30,000 to get it done correctly. So anytime it rains real hard, the water comes from both properties, the back field and that field onto us. We have a lake in our backyard. I don't disagree with what Commissioner Angel said. It's nothing wrong with having homes there because it won't be too many. Or like Mr. Hertz said, it's not really a good place to have commercial property because, like you said, you have to build a property up, and the water's only going to come down on us. I checked with DENREC and with the property when it was agriculture, and they said there was nothing I can do other than put a ditch out to the road, and they don't want that water going to 13 because there's nowhere to go. Under my driveway and the next driveway is pipes, but they go into an inlet that goes across the road. So, in everybody's best interest that lives there, I still think we don't need storage buildings because, like you said, it's going to be asphalt and concrete, and the water has nowhere to go. It's going to come on us. So thank you for hearing me, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Anyone else here like to speak in opposition to the project? Please come forward.
Good evening. My name is John St. Pierre. I live at 20057 South DuPont Highway, right next to the property.
Sir, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
Yes. Honorable Commissioners, I want to thank you for your time and your work to run Kent County. We like living here. Our family has made it our home. We really appreciate the benefits and resources we have here. We've made this property our home and invested in it. We enjoyed the agrarian community away from the beach. We enjoy the neighbors who are self-sufficient but never unwilling to lend a hand. There's a true community there. And we enjoy the creativity to cultivate the land, raise animals, and raise our families. And I do have concerns about this project that I want to bring to your attention so that using the master plan, using the structure of the law as it's given, you can help us to protect the community that we enjoy so much. We've discussed the character of the neighborhood tonight, which is agricultural and single family. And when I talk about our neighborhood, I want to point you to south of Williamsville. North of Williamsville is a little bit more built up, has the State Fair complex not too far away. Williamsville is a bit of an artery to get toward Milford and things east, but once you pass south of Williamsville, it really becomes a much more agrarian zone. It is a calmer environment. I had trouble. I could not get natural gas down there. It's too far from Harrington, and so we get propane shipped in. And it is an area of single-family home and agriculture. There are no changes to this. In fact, one of the other properties nearby, this one, is a new single-family home just a few years ago built. So that is the character of the area. For Mr. Party to tell us that making it residential is not very appropriate, just doesn't pay attention to who we are and what our community is. The BG properties, you see, some of them were approved in 1977 or in the 90s, as Mr. Party himself pointed out in the previous hearing. And so we are not caught on the edge of a municipality, as he says. We're happily in a quiet agrarian zone. I realize there's 13 there, but our houses are set back, and we enjoy the pace of life that we have. The IG property is currently being farmed, and you can tell just what the character is. There's no question about that. As far as the pep-up station on the corner, it was a mixed zone property that was cleared up, but it's nothing to change what's been there forever and what's quietly a part of what's going on. It's also a corner property, just like the King's Market stand on the corner. It's not in jagged lines between a bunch of houses with drainage problems. It's run by local owners that are making a community investment. As far as the comprehensive plan, I want to congratulate the applicant for finding some property in western Kent County that's agricultural in his photographs. Tons of western Kent County is agricultural, inside and outside the growth zone. That doesn't prove anything except that we live in a state that's blessed with bountiful agriculture. We are outside the growth zone. The line is appropriately drawn, and being south of Harrington and north of Greenwood is an awfully big zone to be talking about. We are in an area, when it's well considered, is truly just an agricultural zone. As far as the infrastructure, there are tons of concerns here, and I don't think they're just as simple as what's been presented. Gun and Rod Club Road would be an awful place with the multiple turns in the road, with some of the tight lanes and the lack of any kind of shoulder along the way. Imagine the trailers that are being brought in to put stuff in the storage units that could be there. There are pedestrians that walk along there, animals, all that kind of stuff. And on Williamsville, there have been numerous accidents at this intersection, Williamsville and Highway 13. There have been numerous accidents, including tragic and serious ones, that we see from our home regularly. We don't want to increase the traffic there and risk other human lives and catastrophes. As far as sewer, I read in the Delaware State News just back in about September or October that they were planning on, that Artesian was planning on doing something in the next 10 years in this area, but to say that it's readily available seems to be a bit of a stretch. We've already talked about the drainage on the field. You can see it represented here in the pools of water. I don't need to elaborate further on that. We share the same concern and have multiple sump pumps at our property. As far as a mini storage that generates minimal traffic, why would a gentleman from Virginia want to come and buy property in Delaware to generate minimal traffic for his business? I imagine he wants to generate some traffic, and I don't think what's proposed is well equipped to deal with it. As far as compatibility with the current neighborhood, which is one of the criteria that Mr. Pardee pointed out, let me just point out how many properties are adjacent or easily affected by this. This is not a corner property. This is not a property removed from other structures, but this is right in the middle of a vibrant agricultural and residential zone. As far as considering just the mini storage, let me just encourage you, a zoning change is to consider the possible range of options, which can include, depending on right of use or conditional use or approved use, casinos, adult businesses, drive-through businesses, and all other manner of things that could fit BG. You can't argue a business model will have limited hours. That's not appropriate to make the case here. If you want to rezone it, you rezone it. And we don't think that that is an appropriate use of our neighborhood. Are there going to be employees here at this place that are going to make a big economic impact? It doesn't seem like you're likely to employ many people, but to send profits out of state to someone who's not one of your constituents or our neighbors. And so this does not seem to be a good fit for our neighborhood. Instead, you've heard how our families have enjoyed this area, how we use it well for its purpose, and I'd ask you to consider our community and to deny this application so that we can continue enjoying what we already have there. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mr. St. Pierre. Is anyone else here in opposition of the project? Please come forward. Mr. Kennedy?
If there's anyone joining us online that would like to speak in opposition to this project, please indicate by raising your electronic hand or pressing *3 if you're joining us by phone. I see no hands raised online, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. At this point, motion. Commissioner Angel?
Thank you, Madam President. Well, based on the information presented, the Kent County Code, the comprehensive plan, staff, and the signed petition we just received of the people in that area, I vote to deny the request to amend the zoning map, comprehensive plan, future land use map. The proposed rezoning does not meet the conditions for approved for a zoning change under Kent County Code, Section 205-408B.
Sir, may I? Excuse me. Do you incorporate the staff's recommendation as part of your vote? Thank you.
We have a motion by Commissioner Angel. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hall. Any questions? Roll call.
Hold on. Remember, you have to state the reasons in the record, or you can state that per the motion. Because it's a rezoning.
For my motion?
Second per the motion.
Roll call.
Mr. Angel?
Yes, as per my motion.
Mr. Hall?
Yes, per staff and RPC recommendations.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes, based on RPC recommendations.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes, even though I do believe that the low-impact nature of this project, if it remains this project and doesn't change after the zoning, would be a very low impact and would not affect the neighbors that much. But I have to go along with the recommendation of staff. Yeah, this area is in transition, but I don't think it's in full transition at this time.
Mr. Scott?
Ms. Laurie, I'm going to have to abstain from voting to continue to keep the integrity of Kent County Levy Court in play.
Mr. Sweeney?
So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Counselor, we need a supermajority in order to override the RPC, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, that's for the record. My vote's no. I think that this is an appropriate rezoning of the property. It's close enough to other properties from Harrington down to south of Farmington. It is low impact, and I agree with Commissioner Angel. We do need houses, but we don't need houses that are on 4 acres that are very large. We need affordable housing, and that's not some place where we're going to be able to put affordable housing. So my vote's no.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes, for reasons stated.
Madam President, roll call reveals 5 yeas, 1 nay, 1 abstaining.
Thank you, Ms. Tanaka. Moving on to resolution proposing to extend KCSDD1 Trunk Branch Area, Davis Properties. Vice President Scott.
Thank you, Madam President. Resolution 4139, a resolution upon a proposal to extend Kent County Sewage Disposal District Number 1 pursuant to Section 4606, Chapter 4606, Chapter 46, Title 9 of the Delaware Code, as amended, the Trunk Branch Area, Davis Properties.
Mr. Batista.
Yes, good evening, Commissioners. The resolution before you is to extend Kent County Sewage Disposal District Number 1 in the Trunk Branch Area and covers 4 properties owned by Miss Sylvia Davis. Located within the boundaries of the Kent County Primary Growth Zone on the north side of Sophers Road in Sophers Row in Magnolia, the proposed service would involve 4 EDUs consisting of 4 single-family homes. The proposed sanitary sewer service requires connection to the existing gravity sewer main located at the adjacent Chaseland Hills subdivision by a pump station and force main. There is adequate capacity in the downstream sewer system to support this development. The applicant accepted the terms of service and is responsible for the design, permitting, and construction of the proposed sewer system. The owner of the property is responsible for the payment of all required fees for residential sewer permits as well as district and county-wide impact fees. Staff recommends Levy Court to open the public hearing and collect any testimonies to decide whether or not to extend the sewage disposal district.
Any questions for Mr. Batista? Thank you. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in favor of Resolution 4139? Kennedy?
If you're joining us online and would like to speak in favor of Resolution 4139, please indicate by raising your electronic hand or pressing *3 if you're joining us by phone. I see no hands raised online, Madam President.
Is there anyone here who would like to speak in opposition of Resolution 4139? Mr. Kennedy?
Similarly, if you're online and would like to speak in opposition to Resolution 4139, please indicate by raising an electronic hand. Still no hands raised online, Madam President.
Thank you. Back to you, Vice President Scott.
Thank you, Madam President. Again, make a motion for Resolution 4139, a resolution upon a proposal to extend King County Sewage Disposal District Number 1 pursuant to Section 4606, Chapter 4606, Chapter 46, Title 9 of Delaware Code as amended, Trunk Branch Area, Davis Properties.
Second motion.
Motion by Vice President Scott, second by Commissioner Pepper. Any questions? Roll call?
Mr. Angel?
Yes, reason stated.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Madam President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Let the record show 7 yeas. At this point, we will close the public hearings and move on to, do we have any old business? Any new business? Mr. Hertz?
Yeah, I'd like to bring up Mr. Batista.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is a very important item for Public Works, and I'm here to present the on-call engineering professional service agreements. So, the question is, why use these professional service agreements? Wastewater conveyance and transmission is a very specialized field, and we need consultants that are highly qualified to do the work. Every treatment plan is different, and so we need those consultants to inspect and analyze our treatment plant and give us full details and recommendations in order to improve the treatment of the plant. Public Works has a need for professional services to assist in design, construction management, and geotechnical engineering. And by using these professional services agreements, it increases design capability bandwidth by awarding multiple professional services agreements to several consultants to deliver projects in a timely manner. So in order to get these on-call consultants, we went through a procurement process. Staff prepared a request for qualifications, which was advertised in July of 2025. And in response to that RFQ, staff did receive 21 proposals. Staff evaluated these proposals and rated and ranked these proposals based on firm reputation, technical expertise, their experience, office locations, familiarity with public works projects, and we also looked at the rates. And we've had previous discussions before, and the plan is to award at least 4 agreements to consultants specializing in conveyance and transmission, 3 consultants in treatment process, 3 in construction management, and 3 in geotechnical engineering. And this is a list of the recommended firms ranked by staff. So in terms of wastewater engineering, we have Corello Engineers, Century Engineering, HDR Engineering, Johnson, Mirmoran, and Thompson, KCI Technologies, Whitman, Reckard and Associates, and Verdantis. In construction management, we have Davis, Bowen, and Friedel, George Miles and Burr, and Hawk Consulting. And in geotechnical engineering, we have Century Engineering, JMT, and Verdantis. So staff recommends the following action: move to award contracts with engineering firms listed in the memorandum for on-call engineering professional services for initial 3-year term and allow for 2 one-year extensions. Funding will be through sewer fund operating revenues or other specific project funds as budgeted or amended. Total contract amount up to $150,000 per firm. And then authorize the Public Works Director to negotiate with the firms listed and associated for associated professional services, subject to the county attorney's concurrence, and to authorize the president of Levy Court to sign these agreements. And with that, that concludes my short presentation. I'll answer any of your questions.
Any questions? Commissioner Sweeney?
Thank you. Mr. Batista, thanks for that. When you say on call, you're not meaning after hours, just for the record, I know what the answer is, but you're not meaning on call like after hours coming in working on emergencies. This
That's correct.
On call, we need assistance with something during the day. So no changes in the rates based on having to come in at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right, that's correct,
Okay,
Commissioner
thank you.
Sweeney.
Any other questions? Back to you, Mr. Hertz.
Okay, thanks for reading my motion, but I think I got to reread it.
Thank you.
So I move to award on-call contracts as needed with selected engineering firms listed in this memorandum for on-call engineering professional service agreements for an initial 3-year term and allow for 2 one-year extensions. Funding will be through the sewer fund, operating revenues, and other specific project funds as budgeted or amended. Total contract amount up to $150,000 per firm. Number 2, authorize the Public Works Director to negotiate with the firms listed for the associated professional services subject to the county attorney concurrence, and authorize President of Levy Court to sign said contracts.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hertz, second by Vice President Scott. Any questions? Roll call.
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes, per my motion.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes, based on recommendations from Director of Public Works.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Madam President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, Mr. Scott, Vice President Scott.
Thank you, Madam President. This time, I'd like to go into a local fire department. Magnolia Fire Company has issued they've acquired a special equipment for different fire calls and rescues and so forth throughout their district. Magnolia has never, I checked with a couple commissioners, I don't think they've ever really come to the county for anything in the past. So tonight I will move to award a community project assistance grant, policy 30, in the amount of $3,000 to support the purchase of a EMS utility terrain vehicle for the Magnolia Volunteer Fire Company. Funds shall be applied toward the acquisition, outfitting of the unit to enhance emergency medical response capabilities within the Magnolia Fire District and surrounding mutual aid areas.
Second motion. I got more motion?
Just another explanation I should have probably did before the motion. I'm sure Max will stop me when it's incorrect. Just so that everyone's aware that this was about a $50,000 project, and Magnolia has got some funding through legislators, but they've had secured around $18,000 balance out of their pocket. So I don't want anyone to think that we're just handing money over.
Thank you. I still second
Motion
the
by
motion.
Vice President Scott, second by Commissioner Pepper. Any questions? Roll call.
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
I am going to vote yes, but I would warn the commissioners that we're opening a 5-gallon bucket of worms with this for every fire company that wants to come in and buy a specialty vehicle, piece of equipment, scuba gear, or whatever. But $3,000, my vote's yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Madam President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Commissioner Hall for introduction.
Thank you, Madam President. Introduction of ordinance LC 25-28, Keeping of Animals. An ordinance to amend Kent County Code, Volume 2, Chapter 205, zoning, as amended by revising Article 4, General Provisions, Section 205-30. Enclosure of livestock, Section 205-34. Keeping of poultry, pigeons, ducks, and similar animals. Section 205-36. Keeping of domestic pets. In Article 7, Area and Bulk Requirements. Section 205-84. Agricultural structures to integrate, expand, and clarify the requirements and limitations on the keeping of animals, and clarify the area and bulk requirements for structures housing animals, for public hearing on Tuesday, December 16th, 2025 at 7 p.m.
Thank you.
Commissioner Maston, before you take up the next topic, I won't be voting, so I am going to excuse myself from the chambers and depart.
Thank you, Commissioner Sweeney. The next item, probably the hardest one I've had to address in the 5 years that I've been here. But I'd like to open the discussion for the potential removal of Commissioner George Jody Sweeney from his assigned committees and liaison roles at the behest of myself, Levy Court President. Discussion.
Madam President.
Yes, Commissioner Pepper?
I think before we do that, I think we need to have an explanation from you as president as to why this is on the agenda, to clarify things for the other commissioners.
Sure. This has certainly been discussed with commissioners, but in the past, and I believe this probably started late August, early September, and continued on for several weeks, the positions that have been posted on social media, where even at one point in time, a comment was thrown out there about, by the way, folks, to the extent, I might not get the wording just right, but when I'm finished, I will have my 20 years in, and you're going to pay my pension for myself and my wife as long as we live. Are you butthurt or are your cheeks clenched? What concerns me most of all is the rhetoric that's being used and the number of comments that not just myself, but many of the others of you up here who have shared with me. Not only that, but the residents that have reached out to me, no matter where I go, what are you going to do? Well, what residents don't understand, there's only so much you can do with elected official. You know, when I met with our county attorney, some options we had, which was sanctioning, which I did not support. There's censuring, but the best thing to do would be to remove him from committees and the liaison with other operations. That seemingly was the best option that we had. And I've had multiple conversations with every one of you sitting up here.
So if I just...
Yes, sir?
I wanted to clarify something.
All right, sir.
If I could, and I don't mean to interrupt.
It's okay. You can always interrupt.
All right. So in other words, nothing that the Levy Court's going to do here tonight, if they accept this, is going to prevent Commissioner Sweeney from doing his job or sitting at Levy Court.
That is
table.
correct. His job will still continue.
So I just wanted to make that very, very clear.
I appreciate that. I hadn't gotten to that point yet. But none of this takes away from the job that he does, the meeting with constituents, the phone calls that he receives, takes away none of that. But I think as elected officials, I think all of you know, most of you have been here a lot longer than me, we are held to a much higher standard than what the normal person is on the street. And again, I'm moving this forward at the request of all of you in order that we take an effective action. Does that help you, Commissioner Pepper? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Open it up to any other commissioner who would like to comment. No comments?
Madam President, I'll say something. It's a sad day when we have to be up here to even be going through this. It's not good for anyone. Unfortunately, Levy Court does have standards. It has integrity, and we need to maintain that position with it, not only for the existing commissioners, but for the commissioners in the future as well. And I just don't. Nobody asked him to do the things that he did, say the things that he said. So I think on behalf of Levy Court, I think we're taking the right action here.
Mr. Angel?
Thank you, Madam President. The one thing that, long before you all were here, and a lot of that, I'm the only sitting commissioner left since I said this, so I can actually say, I tried to do an ethics policy revision years ago, and hopefully that will get done now. It's based on what we're going through. So we need a protocol, we need an ethics, and we have a national association to look at, as well as our own revision, and we're also looking at a social media revision also at the same time, based on what I'm being told. So I just want everybody to know, this is not something it should have happened years ago, but now that it's happened, we're handling it the best we can.
Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Hertz?
Yeah, well, I agree with anybody's First Amendment rights. When you're an elected official, you got to have a certain decorum, and you do have to watch what you say to public people and to individual people in the county, and especially to constituents. And what he did as an individual brought a bad light to all of us, because the public sees us as a group, not as one individual. So it was a bad look on all of us commissioners up here, and all of our county employees. And I will say, I'm very disappointed that Commissioner Sweeney walked out of here, because to me, that's a coward move, because he brought this on and he's getting exactly what he deserves.
Any other commissioner comments?
Madam President.
Commissioner Pepper?
I've served with Commissioner Sweeney for most of his term as a seated commissioner. Commissioner Sweeney does an outstanding job representing his constituents. There's no question in that whatsoever. And this is evident by the many successful campaigns that he's won over the years. He and I both represent the same constituents, since he represents the 5th District and I represent the county at large. Commissioner Sweeney was elected and essentially hired by his constituents. So we did not hire Commissioner Sweeney. His constituents, 30-some thousand constituents in his district, hired him. So, but we served with him on Levy Court. I've got to tell you, I've had very, very few residents in the 5th District contact me or make any formal or informal complaints against Commissioner Sweeney about this incident or any other incident in the past. And I believe we should all be afforded the protection of the First Amendment, but in this case, I think Commissioner Sweeney crossed the line, and we need to be able to take some kind of punitive action against our fellow commissioners to rectify or correct any situation similar to this. And as Commissioner Angel has stated, we need to have a policy to deal with this in the future. Our hands were kind of tied at this point, but I think the recommendation of the president is deemed necessary. I hate it. I don't want to do it. I hate it, but I think that we need to set some kind of precedence. So commissioners are aware that there are some kind of actions that Levy Court will take in the future, or can take in the future, if something like this continues on. But I've also got to say that, you know, looking at how things are run nationally or going nationally now, a lot of people just don't care. They're accepting of this type of thing. So look into Levy Court chambers tonight. This was publicized both on social media and through Levy Court, and there's a handful and a half of people here that are concerned about this. But I really have mixed feelings about this, but I do think that we need to address this in this situation, and to rectify the situation, and just put it out there that we may be limited at this point as to what we can do, but we can do something, no matter how it's perceived by the community. or by our constituents, whether they think it's not enough. But please understand, we cannot fire Commissioner Sweeney. And I've heard that, and I've had people ask me that they should be kicked off of here. We did not hire him. As I said, his constituents, 30-some thousand constituents in the 5th District, the majority of them voted for Commissioner Sweeney numerous times, in fact, in the past, to keep him as their representative. So, like I said, I hate to do this, but I do feel that the President was right to recommend this type of action.
Thank you, Commissioner Pepper. Any other commissioner comments? Back to you, Mr. Angel, or Commissioner Angel.
Thank you, Madam President. Well, as the chair of administration, this was handed to me as my duty. So I have no problem doing my duty. I move to remove Commissioner George Jody Sweeney from all assigned committee and liaison appointments as listed above, effective immediately with the Levy Court present, to propose reassignments to other Levy Court commissioners at the next available meeting.
You have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Tanaka, roll call.
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Regretfully, yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney? Absent. Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Madam President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Do we have any other business?
Madam President, at this time, I'll make a motion to move to go into executive session immediately following the business meeting for preliminary discussion, on-site acquisition for a publicly funded capital improvement, legal strategy session regarding collective bargaining or pending and potential litigation and personnel matters pursuant to 29 Delaware C 10004B 2, 4, and 9.
Second.
Motion by Vice President Scott, second by Commissioner Pepper. Roll call.
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney? Absent. Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Madam President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. Do we have any information items? Any public comment? Podium?
Hi, my name is Kimberly Mary Petters, 493 Sedgwick Drive, Magnolia, Delaware.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
I do. So I just wanted to say that I can only speak for myself when I say that I recognize how difficult this was for all of you. Even people you don't agree with. I mean, half of you have worked with him for how many years? You form friendships. You form respect. It goes beyond just a professional relationship. I mean, half my colleagues become family. And a comment was made that he has done a good job over the years, a great job, a fantastic job representing his constituents. There's absolutely truth to that. But it still doesn't make up for the things that he said and the things that he did. It still doesn't make up for the fact that he tagged innocent people on a public platform where he has tons and tons of followers because he's a commissioner and has been for decades. He put us all in the line of fire with awful accusations. And I just want to say, when you make this decision, and I know some of you are probably going to go to bed maybe realizing you did the right thing, but the right thing is not always easy to do. It can be hard. And so I just ask you, what if it were your daughter or your wife or any of yours, no one individually, that was called a POS publicly or had people sent after them? I said before that because of politics and because I'm a conservative, I've had to meet with the FBI, the Delaware State Police, and people have literally gotten arrested for harassing me. And when he did that, when he made those comments, those same people came back after me. So it's not like there are no repercussions. There is true damage to what he does and the words that he uses. And it didn't just hurt people like me and his constituency and the other people that he called out. It hurt all of you. It put all of you in this position, and none of you deserve it. None of you made those comments. Probably none of you ever would. President Maston, you didn't deserve to be put in this position, and I have no doubt it was incredibly difficult. I have no doubt. I know you all have hearts. But I also want to tell you this. I didn't want it to be a big spectacle today. I knew that this was coming. I'd seen something on the agenda. I'd been just watching over the last few months. I didn't say anything until today. It didn't need to be a whole big thing. So, but I will say this. I got so many messages saying that these actions gave people hope. Republicans and Democrats alike. We're used to, as regular people, because I'm just a regular people, I'm not elected like any of you, we're used to elected officials can do whatever they want. And there's no repercussions, and we just have to deal with it. And it doesn't matter how egregious, and it doesn't matter who it hurts. But you guys actually took a stand and said, Commissioner Sweeney, I respect you over here in this portion, and I do recognize all the work you've done, but this particular action was wrong. And it forced you guys to have to stand up for yourselves because, to be honest, Kent County Levy Court was a joke for a while. It was like a circus, oh, we got this Antifa guy. And yes, everybody looked at all of you like that too. And yes, they did want you to do something. And some people, a lot of people don't understand what your capabilities are and your boundaries. And again, I don't know my time. I wasn't even planning on speaking, actually. I just want to say that I recognize how hard it is to remove your colleague from committees. I recognize how hard that is. But I'm glad that you recognize the damage of his actions and his words. Because quite frankly, if the people sitting here didn't do something, didn't take action, then that would just continue. And honestly, that's bullying. He's bigger and more powerful. He's been elected almost 2 decades. And he picked on people much smaller than him. And I appreciate all of you for saying, hey, we need to make some changes here. We need to step up our level of professionalism. I recognize it was hard. I can see it in your faces. And I hate that for you, probably as much as you hate for us what he did. I hate to say it, but it reminds me of my children. Sometimes we have to discipline them in order to get them back on track and keep them from messing up their own lives, at least at this stage of life is what we do. I know it was hard. Again, no prepared words. I feel bad for him too. I don't want anyone to hurt. But that was the whole point, to stop an elected official from hurting people, because that's actually what happened. So he can blame it on one person. He can not take any accountability, even though we printed out his comments and said, look, this is what's being said. This is what's happening. I didn't put you in this position. He did. He put all of us in this position. And I thank you for taking action. I do pray for him. I don't want anybody to hurt. So I'm sorry if that was not very eloquent, but those are my feelings. And I thank you. You've given people hope. You've showed the community that we don't have to tolerate such awful behavior. And sometimes there is accountability. Thank you.
Anyone else have public comment? Mr. Goldsboro, because we have to go to executive session, do you think you can lead your comments to 3 minutes?
Yeah, that's fine. Do I need to swear in or just?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm Kevin Goldsboro. I'm at 668 Lighthouse Road, Smyrna, Delaware.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
Yes, I do. So it's too bad Commissioner Sweeney can't hear this. You're correct. It did seem cowardly to walk out like that. He said there was a complaint by one person. That's not true. I've been on Rick Jensen's radio show about this. I called in about 10:30, a couple days after the first meeting here, and he had callers call into at least about noon, saying they would not want to have representation like this. He mentions the First Amendment, but I also agree, as an elected official, there is a higher standard there. The First Amendment, as a citizen, you have the right. He has the right to say something. He can't. There's nothing legally that can touch him. However, being in an elected position, that does not provide him limitless protections for a lack of professionalism. In Kent County, the constituents are the employers, and we must have a recourse of action. And thank you for taking some recourse. Real quick, an example. If you were at McDonald's, you got an extra large fry, they put 3 French fries, in your fry, and the server's like, "Oh, that's too bad about you because, well, now McDonald's has a larger profit margin, and there's going to be more money in my pension because of the increased profit margin." I think most of us here would be like, "Yeah, I would actually like to talk, to management." And for a constituency of Kent County, Commissioner Baston is our management, and I thank her for her actions. Real quick on Antifa, they committed a lot of acts of violence to direct things into the political direction of where they want things to go. And so that's exactly what fascists would be doing. It's exactly what terrorists would be doing then. They can call themselves whatever they want to call themselves, but actions do speak louder than words. And they like to burn police cars, riot, destroy people's businesses, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I spoke my piece. Thank you. Would there be any questions of me?
Thank you, Mr. Goldsboro.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address public comment? Please step forward.
Good evening. Quickly, because I know all of you have other places to go and things to discuss. I'm Susan Lanyon. I live at 132 South Kimmer Lane in Camden, Delaware.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
Yes, I do. Courage is a rarity these days. People who have courage stand up. Cowards run. All of you have stood up, not only for yourselves, but for those of us in Kent County, for all the public officials who are indeed held to a higher standard of behavior, who should be accountable, and who should honor those who have elected them to office and those they serve. And as this lady so eloquently put it, I'm sure it was quite difficult what you did tonight, and I'm sure that this gentleman is your friend. But I will tell you that you have honored your constituents. You have created a level of accountability that will not go unnoticed. And Mr. Angel, to speak to your point about written ethics and policies and procedures, I applaud you for that. That's not only necessary, it's non-negotiable. So to all of you and your courage and the great difficulty with which you have shown your courage,
I thank you very much for doing what you did on behalf of all of us and on behalf of the integrity of public office.
Thanks, Mrs. Landon. Is there anyone else who would like to express any public comment? Real quick.
He's already spoken.
This has motivated a lot of us to look at election recall for the state of Delaware. So there is a bill that is fully sponsored in the House and the Senate right now. It's currently in draft form, but this has motivated a lot of us to have election recall, for Delaware. So if that's something that you appreciate, please reach out to your peers in the House and the Senate and ask them to pass this bill. And if a recall process would exist, I don't believe that this behavior would happen, and you wouldn't need to be in this situation that you're in right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goldsboro. Anyone else like to speak? Thank you all. Any commissioner comments?
Yes, Madam President. On a more positive note, I'd like to wish everyone a safe and happy holiday. Also, Thanksgiving's coming up, and for those of you that don't know, there's a group called Blessing for Badges, and what happened is on the 26th, there's a group of us commissioners usually go up to Lipsick and help out with it. We make up right around 550, 600 lunches, and then on Thanksgiving Day, you have another group of commissioners that take them around to police stations, firehouses, I think military spots and so forth, if I'm not.
Yeah, it actually extends from the foot of the Roth Bridge all the way to the Sussex County line. All first responders get a Thanksgiving dinner.
So that's just one thing. If you happen to see these people that are doing this, hey, tell them thank you, shake their hand. Another thing is you got a lot of municipalities and what that are putting on different Christmas parades and Christmas events. You know, if you can, take a chance, take the family out to some of these events. These municipalities and organizations go through a lot of work to put these things together. It doesn't just appear. There's a lot of man hours that goes into it, and they would love to have your support. So that's all I have. And again, happy holidays for everyone.
Any other commissioner comments? Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Angel.
Yes, I wanted to just give thanks for what we did on Tuesday. President Mass and myself and County Administrator Kevin Sipple were here for our veterans for Flag Day. So it was a very cold day. I'm glad we pulled it inside. We had 4-star generals here, 4 of them, sitting in this room. That's a first. I've seen one, but we had 4. Yes, 3 were retired, but it was amazing for the amount of support that we had in this room for our military. I wanted to thank us that could make it be there. Thank you.
I think a big thanks goes to Joel Gartner because he was able to work it out where we could move it from the Veterans Park in here to the building and make sure everything was ready for them. So hats off to Joel. Okay. Adjourn to executive session.
Madam President, make a motion to adjourn to executive session.
Second.
All in favor?